All right, here we go. So I have been thinking for a while now about what I'm going to say, how I'm going to say it, and exactly what I want to do moving forward. And to be honest, I'm still not really sure I know. The fact is, as much as I have done for this channel and as much as I have tried to make it everything that I could, it simply is not going anywhere. I did not expect to be where I am with this as of right now. I expected to be in a different spot. Quite frankly, I just expected the channel to be a bit more successful, but it's on me that it's not. And it's not on anybody else. And so I have to face facts and I have to decide whether or not I want to continue doing this. But before I really dive into that aspect of it and what's going to be happening moving forward here, I do want to let you guys know where I'm at and why now I am talking about this. Where I'm at right now is I am back in Florida. I am enrolled as a sportscasting student at Full Sail University. And if you do not know what Full Sail University is, essentially, it is one of the top, if not the very top, sportscasting schools in America, maybe even in the world. It is Dan Patrick's School of Sportscasting. He does not own the entire university or anything, but he essentially created, sponsors, and helps facilitate the creation and completion of the sportscasting program at this facility. And it's essentially, you guys have probably seen the commercials, the program in full and all that stuff. And that is what I have chosen to do because I want to do this as part of what I want to do for a living. I want to be a broadcaster. I want to be on air. And not only do I want to be, I feel like it's where I'm supposed to be. And I think that's the most important thing is that I am. And I know I try not to talk a whole lot about God on this channel because I know that there's people that don't necessarily look at life in that regard, don't believe, and that's fine. But I do, and so that is what I feel like God teaches all of us to do. It's that find your place in the world, find your passion, and God gives you the talents that He gives you, and the gifts that He gives you, and the motivations that He gives you for a reason. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm chasing that. I'm going after it. I haven't gone after it. I've obviously done this podcast for quite a while, which has helped get practice and continue to formulate my thoughts and practice my speech and stop stuttering and the ums and the uhs and the likes and all that stuff. So that's been very, very fruitful. That has been wonderful. And I've loved the therapeutic aspect of the podcast over the last few years. But that has not been enough. The PA work that I have done over the last few years stopped. I used to work at Bob Jones University. After my second year, I did not receive a call back. For whatever reason, that's fine. I firmly believe that it was because they had change in management. The person that hired me was no longer there. He had left. And so I feel like the new regime just kind of wanted to bring in their people, and that's totally understandable. I have no ill will towards that at all. I have no ill will towards them. That's just kind of the way it was. And then after that, in Greenville, South Carolina, there just wasn't really a whole lot of PA work left to do. I thought about working for the Greenville Drive, and I actually signed up to start working there and start doing games. But when I looked at the sign up sheet for games, the commentators were taken for every single game, and the PA was taken for every single game. So what I wanted to do was taken, and the only real choices that I would have had were to run camera or to run audio. And part of me now wishes I would have done it just to kind of get the experience. But at the time, I didn't feel like it was the best thing for me because it's not what I wanted to do. And now, ironically, I'm going to the university and paying a good amount of money to do all that stuff at some point as well, because I'll be doing stuff behind the camera, I'll be doing stuff in front of the camera, I'll be doing everything that I could possibly think of. So that's where I was, and then Fast forward to around January, February of last year, so right around a year ago, I almost moved to Knoxville, Tennessee. I was supposed to take a position, or at least I believed I was supposed to. Obviously, God had different plans, but I felt like it's where God wanted me to be, to take a position, and I won't say what position. It was out in Knoxville, Tennessee, and it just didn't end up working out. So the pivot was Full Sail University, because I knew no matter what that I did not want to be stuck where I was. And I love Greenville, South Carolina as a city. It was wonderful. Obviously, good friend of the channel, excuse me, Dan Lindsay is from Greenville. He still lives there. His wife is still there. And so I love that place, and I hope I'm going to be able to go back and visit soon. But I needed to get out of there. The work environment, the financial environment, and the growth environment in terms of sports and what I want to do with the rest of my life was just not going to work in Greenville. There just wasn't enough options. There wasn't enough opportunity. And that was that. So we decided pack up our stuff, move down here. And I will say this is horribly ironic and also funny at the same time, because I've had enough time to process what my life would have been like had I been able to wait for another couple of weeks or a couple of months. And it just didn't happen that way. But here's what happened. So I moved back down here on August 2nd or 3rd, one of those. 2 days after I had moved in, I got a text from a gentleman that I used to work with at Bob Jones University. At the time that I met him, he was just a student at Bob Jones University. He was either volunteering or doing work study for the athletic department, doing scoreboard. And suddenly I get a text message from him, and it says that he is and I don't remember the exact title, to be fair, somewhere around the director of media relations or something along that line for Furman, who is a D1, a Division I college that I had been trying to work for over a year. I had been trying to be their PA because through my old job, I met one of the equipment managers that used to work at Furman. He has since gone elsewhere. And he had mentioned to me that the associate athletic director or the assistant athletic director or even the athletic director himself, I can't remember which one, was doing the PA work himself, and he hated it. That's what the gentleman said. To be fair, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what he said, and I had no reason to not believe him, and I don't feel like he had any reason to lie to me, to be fair. And so he told me to email that gentleman and send him my resume and all that stuff, and the guy never got back. I called the school. I even made plans to go over there, but I ended up not going over there just because didn't know if the guy would be there. He never got back to me, so it would have just been a waste of time, in my opinion. So, again, looping back around, 2 days after I moved down here, gentleman that I had worked with at Bob Jones says that he is the director of media relations, and he was wondering if I was still in town because Furman did not have a PA, and he wanted me to do it, and he wanted to talk about salaries and stuff like that. Wanted to meet. And I told him, I said, brother, you're a week too late. you're a week too late. I just moved away. And otherwise, I'm not going to lie, I probably would have, maybe not probably, I might have stayed. Because that would have at least been an advancement in my career. Obviously, going from smaller college program to even low-level Division I like Furman. It's not on the same level as Alabama or Ohio State or Florida State or something like that. But it's still Division I, so it is still a step up. And I would have been able to call football. I would have been able to do a bunch of stuff that I would have really enjoyed, I think. So that, unfortunately, was just poor timing, but also, again, a bit funny because I'd waited so long for that opportunity, and unfortunately, I was not able to capitalize on it. Fast forward to today. As I said, am a student at Full Sail University. I know there's probably a lot of questions about many things I have not talked about yet But that's where I'm at. I just wanted to give you guys an update on that. So here's what's been going on. Yes, I shaved off my beard. I know, I did. And I know you guys saw the video that I did the other day about the Luka trade. Didn't plan on doing anything for another week or so, even after the two-ish month hiatus, maybe even longer. I don't even remember now. But I didn't plan on doing anything, but that was so crazy I had no choice. I felt I had to upload something for that. Otherwise, it would have just felt disingenuous as a sports fan and not give my comments on it. So I did that. But other than that, you have not seen me in a couple of months. I have started over everything, including my look. Right? This is a completely fresh start for me. This is a new beginning, a new life. You know, if anybody is a fan of the Doom franchise, I got that plus one extra life, and I'm going to use it. And I want to use it to the best of my ability. If I'm going to be on air consistently, then I want to try and look my best. And I think with the look that I had and the hair that I had and the beard that I had, I think it could just be easy to let yourself go a bit in that regard. So I decided to just scrap it, kind of go back to older, earlier, or I guess younger / older, whatever. Younger 2010s me with buzz cut with no facial hair. So that's what I decided to do, and that's just it. So that explains that. Now for the channel. And I know this is what you guys have been wanting to know. Am I going to completely stop this? Am I going to call it quits? Am I going to drop the Lopes Goes Last channel? Not yet. I am not going to drop it just yet. I said at the beginning that I have spent a long time trying to figure out what is going on, and unfortunately I don't know. And I did not want to wait any longer to figure things out. I have no idea what's going to happen over the next few months. But here are a few things that I do know. I know that my goal, if I am to keep this, which is the goal, hence why I said not yet as to getting rid of the channel. If I am to keep it, then I want to vastly improve it. I used the tools that were available to me over the last few years to try and get this thing off the ground as best I can. But with Full Sail University comes additional tools, both knowledge and equipment, that I hope that I can begin to use within the next few weeks for some of that. And again, the goal is to keep this for as long as I can. However, the reason why I have not uploaded anything other than the Luka stuff over the last few weeks is because when I shadowed at Full Sail, when I went for orientation, I was able to have a long conversation with the director of the program, who's fantastic. Everybody's been fantastic. I'm having a blast, by the way, at Full Sail. It's been great. I had a long conversation with him, and I talked about the podcast. I talked about what's been going on. I talked about some ideas. I talked about where I wanted to go with the podcast. And what he said, he made clear. Now, to be fair, I guess he could have been lying again. But he said it had nothing to do with my skill or even work ethic or anything. But his recommendation was to completely stop doing it until it's time at Full Sail to start doing a podcast, which is apparently what you are supposed to start doing at some point. I don't know when. If that is the case, then obviously I have an easy transition right back because I already have a platform that I have started doing, which is great. But the recommendation was to not upload anything for a while. And obviously, given that he is technically my boss, at least that's how I look at it, because I'm not looking at this as school in a lot of ways. I'm looking at this as a job. That I'm going to listen and I'm not going to upload anything. But I have an itch that I can't scratch. I have these ideas that I want to do. I have still been appearing on my friend Dan Lindsay's podcast, whose link I will put in the description if you guys want to follow him. It's called Left Turns and Right Hooks. He talks about NASCAR, he talks about wrestling. So if you're not into those two things, you're out of luck. But if you are into either or both of those things, he does a tremendous job. And I appear on his podcasts, once every couple of weeks or so, I would say. Maybe once a week, depending on the time of year. This time of year, it's going to be a little more frequent because we're doing our John Cena booking. We're going to talk about Elimination Chamber. Obviously, WrestleMania is coming up. So a lot of wrestling content on his channel that I will be involved with. So if you do just want to see me do stuff, you do not have to strictly be on this channel. Dan's channel is perfectly serviceable for that. Other than that, I do have some ideas of my own that I want to do. But there is really one big one, okay? And here is my other announcement of the day. I am currently in the process of creating the most sophisticated, complicated, in-depth video I have ever done. On Dan's channel, we are booking John Cena's final year from start to finish. Now, John Cena's final year has already started, so obviously, when I post it on the channel, we will be a couple of months in, and it will be wrong. Portions of it will obviously be wrong. Doesn't matter. It's a fantasy booking. It's not supposed to be supremely accurate. It is what I would want. Obviously, there's elements of realism in it, but it's just what I would want and how I would book it. So, on his channel, it's broken down into, so far, as of the time of me recording this, Parts 1 and 2 are out on episodes 3 and 4 of his podcast, I believe. I could be wrong on the numbers, but it's something like that. We are recording Part 3 here in a few days. As of time of recording, things could change, but as of right now, we're recording that in a couple days. And then in around a week and a half from now, maybe a little longer, we're going to record Part 4. On my channel, I'm going to take my entire story. I am going to basically make a movie out of it. Now, it won't be a movie like you would see, obviously, in a movie theater where I'm not on the screen. I will be on the screen, but you're going to see pictures, you're going to see graphics, you'll hear music. Hopefully, there'll be some different camera cuts and everything that will get people excited. That's the plan, but I don't have the technology to do that right now. But in a few weeks, hopefully I will. Hopefully I'll have some more tools under my belt that I'll be able to begin to do this process and to make this video as sophisticated as I can. I have a lot of tools already set up and ready to go, but until I get the rest of the tools, I'm not going to begin. So I don't know for sure when this video is going to come out, okay? My goal is before WrestleMania. My goal is to release the whole thing before WrestleMania. Okay? It's going to be a little more in-depth in places than the booking with Dan has been, because obviously on his podcast he has time restraints that he is adhering by. I really don't. So certain parts of my booking I have cut out in order to save time. And in the future episodes, there will also be future things that I will be cutting out to save time on his podcast. On my movie, or my video, I'm looking at it as a movie really, I will not be cutting anything out. Every word that I have ever written regarding this will be in that movie. It will be all there, ready to roll, and some additional thoughts that I hadn't written down. So, that's what I'm going to be doing, and it's going to be all in full. It's probably going to be well over 2 hours long. It's going to be long. So you can watch it in parts. I'll break it up into parts. I will do everything I can to make it accessible and palatable for everyone. People who like watching long-form content are out there. I'm one of those people. But not everybody does. Some people really like to watch it in, 5-minute increments or 20-minute increments, whatever it is. And so I will do my best to make it as digestible and as palatable for everyone. But again, I don't know when that's coming out, but at some point over the next few weeks, you will get a teaser trailer video of that movie. That will come out. And in that trailer, I will reveal what day that movie is going to be coming out. I don't know when any of those are going to be released. Because again, I'm in a bit of flux at the moment. Okay? So, hopefully you guys are subscribed. Hopefully you guys have hit that notification bell. Hopefully you guys like as many of my videos as possible so that when that trailer drops and when that Cena booking video drops, you will be prepared and you will be the first to know. Or maybe the second to know, because I will know, to be fair. So, I really think that's all I have. Thank you for those of you who have been with me through this. I hope you will stick around for what's next, because while in the short term, things will be less and there will not be as much fun stuff to be had, I hope in the long term, you will be hearing from me a lot more. Whether it is on this particular YouTube channel or whether it is elsewhere. But I assure you, regardless of how this goes and regardless of how this ends, I will say goodbye or I will say hello to all of you. And you will all know exactly what will come next. I will not leave you in the dark. I apologize for leaving all of you in the dark for as long as I have over the last couple of months. I'm excited for the couple of things that is to come. Go subscribe to Left Turns and Right Hooks with my friend Dan Lindsay to hear the booking. But be warned, if you listen to my booking and his booking, I hope you don't just listen to mine. I hope you listen to his too. If you listen to my booking, you are going to get 90% of what that movie on my channel will be. So do not be upset and do not go into my comment section when the movie comes out and say, Tyler, this isn't any different or it's barely any different to the one you did on your friend's podcast. I'm aware. It's the same story. I wanted to do it on my channel all in one continuous timeline, right? So just be warned. Hopefully you'll like it so much you'll want to hear it again. And you'll want to hear it all in one thing because I think there's value in that. But we'll see. Regardless, thank you. I love you all. I will see you soon. Normally I say I'll see you next time. I don't know when next time is, so instead, I will just see you soon.